Breaking DMV rule changes. Every driver needs to understand this is a critical update for every driver in the United States. The Department of Motor Vehicles has officially announced three major driving rule changes that are already being enforced in several states, and more states are preparing to follow. These are not small administrative updates. These changes can directly affect your driver's license, your vehicle registration, your insurance costs, and even your legal right to drive. If you are a senior driver, a daily commuter, or someone who depends on a vehicle for independence, this matters to you. What makes these changes especially serious is how they are being enforced. State DMVs are now relying on automated systems, real-time databases, and advanced monitoring technology. That means fewer warnings, fewer second chances, and far less room for simple mistakes. In the past, many drivers relied on flexibility. A missed insurance payment might go unnoticed. A license renewal could be handled online. A quick glance at a phone might result in nothing more than a warning. Those days are ending. Under the new rules, small oversights can trigger immediate consequences: fines, restrictions, suspensions, or higher insurance rates. And in many cases, these penalties happen automatically, without a traffic stop or personal review. In this series, we will break down exactly what has changed, who is most at risk, and what steps drivers need to take right now to protect themselves. Because when it comes to these new DMV rules, being unaware is no longer safe, and being unprepared can be costly. Why these DMV changes are happening right now? Many drivers are asking the same question. Why now? Why are DMVs across the country suddenly tightening rules that stayed mostly unchanged for years? The answer comes down to three things: safety data, rising accident costs, and new technology. State transportation departments have been tracking a steady increase in crashes linked to vision problems, uninsured vehicles, and distracted driving. Older drivers, drivers with medical conditions, and drivers using phones behind the wheel now represent a growing share of serious traffic incidents. At the same time, insurance costs are rising. Accidents involving uninsured drivers place financial pressure on states, insurance companies, and taxpayers. Lawmakers and DMVs are being pushed to act faster and more aggressively. What changed everything is technology. DMVs now have access to real-time databases that connect driver records, insurance providers, and law enforcement systems instantly. Violations no longer need to be discovered weeks later. They can be flagged the moment they happen. From the government's perspective, this means fewer accidents and lower long-term costs. From a driver's perspective, it means something very different: less forgiveness and less time to fix mistakes. These new rules are not about convenience. They are about control, prevention, and enforcement. And once systems are automated, they don't make exceptions. Understanding why these changes are happening helps explain why they are being enforced so strictly, and why drivers who fail to adapt quickly may face consequences they never expected. Mandatory vision retesting for drivers 65 and older. The first major rule change focuses directly on senior drivers. In several states across the country, drivers aged 65 and older are now required to complete mandatory vision retesting when renewing their driver's licenses. This rule is already in effect in states such as California, Florida, Texas, Illinois, and Pennsylvania, with more states expected to follow. What makes this change significant is how different the renewal process now looks for older drivers. If you are 65 or older, you may no longer be allowed to renew your license online or by mail. Instead, you must appear in person at a DMV office and pass a vision screening before your license can be renewed. According to transportation safety officials, vision-related issues have become a leading factor in accidents involving older drivers. Conditions such as cataracts, glaucoma, macular degeneration, and age-related vision decline can affect reaction time, depth perception, and the ability to read road signs clearly. The DMV states that this rule is not meant to punish seniors or take away independence. The stated goal is to ensure that everyone sharing the road can do so safely. However, for many older drivers, this change feels personal. Driving is closely tied to independence, daily routines, and quality of life. The idea that a routine renewal could now involve testing and possible restrictions has caused concern for seniors across the country. This rule represents a clear shift. Age alone does not remove driving privileges, but it now brings additional scrutiny. What happens if you don't pass the vision test? For many senior drivers, the most unsettling part of the new vision requirement isn't the test itself. It's what happens if the results don't meet the DMV's minimum standards. Failing a vision screening does not automatically mean your license is taken away, but it does mean the DMV now has the authority to limit or condition your driving privileges. In many cases, drivers are given options. You may be required to obtain corrective lenses and return for retesting. You may be asked to submit additional medical evaluations from an eye specialist, or you may receive a restricted license. These restrictions can significantly change daily life. Some drivers may only be allowed to drive during daylight hours, others may be limited to driving within a certain distance from their home or prohibited from using highways. For seniors who rely on driving for groceries, medical appointments, or caring for family members, these limits can feel overwhelming. The loss is not just convenience, it's independence. In more serious cases, if vision impairment is considered a safety risk, driving privileges can be suspended until medical clearance is provided, and past driving history does not guarantee approval. Even drivers with decades of accident-free experience are evaluated solely on current test results. This is why preparation matters. The vision test has become more than a formality. It is now a deciding factor in whether and how a senior can continue driving. How senior drivers should prepare before license renewal. For senior drivers, preparation is no longer optional. It is the key to staying on the road. If you are 65 or older and your license renewal date is approaching, waiting until the DMV notifies you can put you at a disadvantage. These new rules leave very little room for last-minute fixes. The first and most important step is scheduling an eye exam well before your renewal date. Make sure your vision prescription is current and give yourself time to adjust if new glasses or contacts are required. Showing up at the DMV unprepared increases the risk of restrictions or delays. Second, take an honest look at your driving experience. Difficulty reading road signs, discomfort driving at night, or slower reaction times are warning signs that should be addressed early, not discovered during a DMV screening. Third, gather your medical documentation. If you have a diagnosed eye condition, a statement from your eye doctor can help clarify your situation and support your ability to drive safely under appropriate conditions. Finally, understand that the DMV process is designed to evaluate safety, not history. Decades of accident-free driving do not replace current medical readiness. For many seniors, driving represents freedom and independence. Preparing ahead of time is how you protect both and avoid unnecessary stress when renewal time arrives. Real-time insurance verification. A rule that affects every driver. Unlike the vision testing rule, this next change does not target a specific age group. It applies to every driver on the road, regardless of age, experience, or driving history. Across multiple states, DMVs have now activated real-time insurance verification systems. These systems are directly connected to insurance company databases and can instantly confirm whether a vehicle's insurance coverage is active, expired, or canceled. In the past, insurance lapses often went unnoticed unless a driver was pulled over or involved in an accident. Today, that delay no longer exists. The moment an insurance company reports a lapse in coverage, the DMV is automatically notified, and once the system flags your vehicle, consequences can begin immediately. Depending on the state, this can include suspension of vehicle registration, financial penalties, reinstatement fees, and in some cases, suspension of your driver's license. These actions are often generated by automated systems, not reviewed manually. What makes this rule especially risky is that intent does not matter. It does not matter if you forgot to pay a bill. It does not matter if your credit card expired. It does not matter if you were switching insurance providers. The system only checks one thing: active coverage or no coverage. For retirees, fixed income households, and drivers managing multiple bills, this creates a new level of pressure. Insurance coverage must now be continuous, without exception. How a one-day insurance lapse can trigger immediate penalties. Many drivers still believe that a short insurance lapse is harmless. A missed payment, a delayed bank transfer, a policy change that takes effect one day too late. Under the new DMV systems, that belief is no longer true. With real-time insurance verification now active, even a one-day gap in coverage can trigger immediate consequences. The moment your insurance company reports a cancellation or lapse, the DMV system is notified automatically, often within hours. There is no grace period built into these systems. By the time a driver realizes there is a problem, their vehicle registration may already be suspended. A notice may already be on the way by mail. Until the issue is resolved, driving that vehicle can become illegal, even if the lapse was unintentional. For seniors and retirees on fixed incomes, this creates a serious risk. Many manage payments manually or rely on paper statements. A single overlooked bill or expired credit card can quietly cancel a policy without immediate notice. Reinstating registration often requires more than just renewing insurance. Drivers may face fines, reinstatement fees, and administrative delays that leave a car unusable for days or weeks. The most dangerous part is that nothing feels different behind the wheel until enforcement catches up. The car runs the same, the road looks the same, but legally, everything has changed. In today's system, continuous insurance coverage is no longer optional. It is constantly monitored and strictly enforced. How drivers can protect themselves from automatic insurance penalties. While the new insurance enforcement systems are strict, they are also predictable, and that means drivers who take the right steps can avoid most of these penalties entirely. The single most effective action is setting up automatic insurance payments. AutoPay removes human error from the process. Missed due dates, forgotten checks, or delayed payments are among the most common reasons insurance lapses, and all of them can be prevented. Next, regularly review your payment method. An expired credit card or a closed bank account can silently cause a failed payment. Many drivers don't realize there's a problem until the policy has already been canceled and reported to the DMV. If you plan to switch insurance companies, timing is critical. Your new policy must begin the same day your old policy ends. Even a one-day gap can trigger an automatic suspension. Never cancel an existing policy until the new one is fully active and confirmed in writing. It's also important to check your insurance status periodically through your provider's app or website. This is especially important for retirees, seasonal drivers, or anyone who doesn't drive daily. Finally, keep proof of insurance accessible, both digitally and in your vehicle. While proof won't prevent automated enforcement, it can mean faster resolution if an error occurs. In today's system, staying insured isn't just about protection after an accident. It's about staying legal, avoiding fines, and keeping your car on the road. Enhanced distracted driving laws, a major enforcement shift. The third rule change marks one of the most aggressive crackdowns on distracted driving the country has seen in years. Several states, including Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Virginia, and Georgia, have introduced enhanced distracted driving penalties, along with stricter enforcement standards. These changes are designed to address one of the leading causes of traffic accidents and fatalities in the United States. In the past, distracted driving laws focused mainly on texting while driving. Penalties were relatively limited, and enforcement depended heavily on whether a police officer personally observed the behavior. That framework has changed. Under the new rules, penalties are significantly harsher. A first offense can now result in large fines, points added to your driving record, and mandatory driver safety courses. Repeat offenses may lead to license suspension, steep financial penalties, and in some cases, criminal charges. But the most important change isn't just the punishment, it's the message. States are making it clear that distracted driving is no longer treated as a minor mistake. It is now viewed as a serious safety violation with long-term consequences. Insurance rates can rise, driving records can be permanently affected. For drivers who believe they are careful or only check their phone briefly, these new laws represent a wake-up call. Enforcement is becoming stricter, tolerance is shrinking, and the cost of distraction is higher than ever before. How technology is now detecting distracted drivers. What truly changes the game with these new distracted driving laws is not just higher fines. It's the technology now being used to enforce them. Across multiple states, law enforcement agencies have begun deploying advanced detection systems designed to identify distracted driving automatically. These systems go far beyond traditional traffic cameras. Using high-resolution lenses, sensors, and artificial intelligence, the technology analyzes driver behavior in real time. It can detect when a driver's head is tilted downward, when eyes are diverted from the road, or when a phone is being held while the vehicle is in motion. In some areas, these systems are mounted on patrol cars. In others, they are positioned along busy roadways, monitoring traffic continuously. When distracted behavior is detected, the system can alert an officer nearby or record evidence for later review. In certain states, this technology is being combined with automated enforcement similar to red light or speed cameras. That means a driver may receive a citation in the mail without ever being pulled over. There is no warning, no conversation, no opportunity to explain intent. From the system's perspective, distracted behavior is simply logged and processed. For drivers, this represents a major shift. Enforcement is no longer based on chance encounters with police. It is constant, quiet, and increasingly accurate. And once a violation is recorded, it becomes difficult to dispute. What counts as distracted driving under the new rules? One of the biggest mistakes drivers are making right now is assuming that distracted driving only means texting behind the wheel. Under the new rules, that definition has been expanded significantly, and many drivers don't realize how easily they can now be cited. Distracted driving is no longer limited to typing or sending messages. In many states, it includes any action that takes your eyes or attention away from the road while the vehicle is running. That means looking down to check who is calling, glancing at a text notification, scrolling a GPS map, even if the phone is mounted, changing music or podcasts on your phone, checking social media, taking photos or videos, even briefly looking at your phone while stopped at a red light. In some states, officers and automated systems do not need to see you touch the phone. If your attention is clearly diverted from driving, that alone can be considered a violation. This is where many drivers, especially seniors, are caught off guard. Phones are commonly used for navigation, communication with family, or directions to medical appointments. What once felt practical and harmless can now result in fines, points on your license, and higher insurance premiums. The safest approach under the new rules is simple. If the vehicle is on, the phone should not be in use at all. Understanding this expanded definition is critical, because under today's enforcement standards, distracted driving is judged by behavior, not by intention. A real-world scenario: how drivers get cited without realizing it. Let's look at a situation that is happening more often than many drivers realize. You're driving home after running errands. Traffic is light. You come to a red light and stop completely. While waiting, your phone buzzes. Out of habit, you glance down to see who it's from. You don't touch the phone. You don't respond. A few seconds later, the light turns green and you continue driving. Moments later, flashing lights appear behind you. You're pulled over and informed that you've been cited for distracted driving. You're confused. You explain that you were stopped at a red light. You didn't text. You didn't even pick up the phone. But under the new rules, none of that changes the outcome. From the enforcement perspective, your vehicle was running and your attention was diverted from the road. That alone meets the definition of distracted driving. In some states, this situation doesn't even require a traffic stop. Automated detection systems may record the behavior, capture your license plate, and generate a citation that arrives by mail days later. For many drivers, especially seniors, this feels shocking and unfair. But these systems are not designed to evaluate intent. They are designed to identify behavior and apply the law consistently. This is the new reality. Under modern enforcement, even a brief glance can carry real consequences. How drivers can protect themselves from distracted driving penalties. With distracted driving laws now broader and more aggressively enforced, protecting yourself requires more than good intentions. It requires changing habits. The safest rule to follow is simple and strict. If the engine is on, your phone should be out of sight and out of reach, not on your lap, not face down on the seat, not in a cup holder. If you can see it, it can distract you, and under the new rules, that distraction can be enough to trigger a violation. Before starting your vehicle, take a moment to prepare. Enter your GPS destination. Select your music or podcast. Make any necessary calls. Once you begin driving, your focus should remain entirely on the road. If you absolutely need to make or take a call, pull over to a safe location and stop the vehicle. Being stopped in traffic or waiting at a red light is no longer considered safe or legal phone use in many states. Hands-free systems can help reduce risk, but they are not a guarantee. Voice commands still require attention, and drivers should avoid interacting with devices for extended periods. For senior drivers especially, this adjustment can feel difficult. Phones are often used for navigation, emergencies, or staying connected with family. But under the new enforcement standards, convenience must take a back seat to compliance. Avoiding distracted driving penalties isn't just about tickets. It's about protecting your license, your insurance rates, and your ability to keep driving independently. Final recap: what these new DMV rules mean for your future. Let's take a final moment to look at the bigger picture. The three DMV rule changes we've covered, mandatory vision retesting for drivers over 65, real-time insurance verification, and enhanced distracted driving enforcement, are not isolated updates. Together, they signal a fundamental shift in how driving laws are enforced in the United States. This is a move away from delayed enforcement and human discretion and toward automated systems, real-time monitoring, and stricter accountability. Small mistakes that once resulted in warnings can now lead to immediate penalties. For senior drivers, the impact is especially significant. Driving is closely tied to independence, daily routines, and quality of life. A failed vision test, a missed insurance payment, or a misunderstood phone habit can now change that reality much faster than before. But these changes don't have to come as a surprise. Drivers who stay informed, prepare early, and adjust their habits can continue driving safely and legally. Vision issues can be managed, insurance lapses can be prevented, distractions can be eliminated. The key takeaway is simple: the rules are stricter, but they are clear. In this new enforcement environment, awareness is protection, preparation is control, and compliance is the path to keeping your license, your insurance, and your freedom to drive. Stay informed, stay proactive, and stay safe on the road.